going. We are live.
Hello and welcome to Moreness-Culture. Good morning, Syl.
Good morning, Beena. Good morning. Good morning. Haha, it's great to be here, Beena. It's great to be here.
Yes, it is great. Yes, it is. It is. Good morning, Grain, and good morning to everyone who is watching us live on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook, of course, and also to those who are going to watch us recorded. So please, if you find this video and you find some value in it, please do click like and subscribe to this channel, because by doing so, you are going to train your online algorithm. This channel is providing some value and goodness into your life. And of course, it is all in your favor. I'm not saying only about my channel and our channel, but it is about everyone, whoever is just putting out some goodness in the universe, putting out some value in the universe, openly, freely sharing. There needs to be, because by doing so, we are just telling the online algorithm that this is what I want in my life. This is how actually people just talk about the law of attraction. This is how it works. You have to put some action in it, and the action required is click like, subscribe, and make a comment there. And this is how you are emphasizing on it. All the magic of focus and attention. This is how we materialize things in our life. This is how we create our own reality. We can have really amazing life even in the midst of all the chaos and everything, because what we are sending, as people call it, vibration, we have a more precise and accurate and actually very right term for this: intent. When you actually set your intent with very clear mind, with impeccability, you literally become part of the universe and become a co-contributor to create a reality for yourself.
Very big deal. Very big deal.
Future is a consequence of our choices we are making today. So we have to be very careful what we are putting in. Exactly like what you are putting in your mouth. Be careful what you are putting into your mind also. So yes, this is what we are doing. Providing soulful nourishment. Okay, this is, I personally feel that. And yes, sometimes things might sound like heavy, deep. Yes, it is, because heavy and deep is valuable, and you are valuable. You cannot have just flimsy, okay, shallow things. You are valuable. Start emphasizing on your own value, and then you will like the really deep and value and heavy stuff. Then it will be like, okay, like a normal thing for you. So that was my today's thought, that okay, why we scared of we feel scared of heavy and deep. Oh no, it's too heavy. Oh, it's too deep. Because somehow we are not giving importance to ourselves, due importance to ourselves. We don't want to pay attention to ourselves, what I'm thinking and why I'm thinking like this. If I'm doing something, why I'm doing something like this, we don't pay attention to. And somehow we all have some, okay, it's a controversial thing, but I'm saying that innate guilt, automatic guilt. And unfortunately, we don't want to pay attention. That's why we love to scroll. We love instant things. Okay, yeah, because it is deep, then it will ask me, it will push me to go deeper and look really, really what's going on inside. What are the root cause? It requires patience. Of course, it requires a lot of effort from our side. That's why we get scared of deep and heavy stuff. But the good news is that all the deep and heavy work is not painful. It's not stressful. Once you truly understand that, then you will see that things can be fun and joyful even when they are deep and heavy in regular jargons and or terms. It will be joyful because I have experienced that. I'm part of this. I can share my experience that it is joyful. Why it is joyful? I always say, like love, your personal growth and learning is also a very selfish business, because actually what I'm responsible of, who I'm responsible of, Beena.
Responsible
that
for.
Is only person only person in this whole universe. I'm responsible of myself. I'm
responsible
responsible.
for.
Yes, yes. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not only responsible for, but also accountable for.
There we go.
But this is the
Comfortable
only
with.
responsibility I have.
Preposition day.
This is the only responsibility I have. What I'm doing, how I'm doing, this is my responsibility. What choices I'm making, this is my responsibility. What other people are doing, it's not my responsibility. Even my loved ones, what they are choosing, it's their own responsibility. Every choice comes with responsibility, and it's actually very like really lifting the burdens from my shoulders. That okay, I'm not responsible for anyone. The only person I'm responsible for is Beena. Okay, now I have to deal just only with one person instead of taking responsibility for everyone. Now it's just me. Okay, so now what I have to do, start communicating with myself. Really try to understand who Beena is, what she's doing, how she's doing, why she's doing. These are the things I'm concerned about. That's why learning and growing is a very selfish business. You only think about yourself because ultimately you are only allowed to, entitled to think about only for yourself. It might sound selfish, no problem. This is a very selfish business, like love. So this is a very,
Very
very,
cool,
very
very cool.
hard. So yes, I
cool.
hope that still is all done with all
Oh yeah,
sharing.
I'm done. I'm done. I was waiting for you. I'm all good. I'm all good.
Always cue Syl that okay, yes, I'm done. No, I can go on and on and on. So this is how I'm treating myself.
I'm just teasing. I just finished right then on that second there.
Oh, okay.
Well, I did something extra, so it took a little longer.
Okay.
I have two things to share. Very important.
So
I just want to say, pleasures. I want to just say thank you to all the wonderful, good birthday wishes. I did reply to everyone. If I missed somebody, I meant to, but sometimes it's tricky, with those messages. When there's a lot of them, Facebook, they groups them, and then you've got to ungroup them. But, when I scroll down, it pops me back up to the top every now and then for no good reason. So it's not always fluid. Let's just put it that way. But I did make an effort to respond to everyone because I really appreciate it very much. And they mean a lot. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Also, my thought of the day, just before we came on, Beena had her internet had dropped, and she came on and she was off for, I don't know, like half an hour or something, and then it came back, right? Just before we had to go live. So what did you say to me, Beena, when you came on?
I was just saying, okay, I was saying to myself that I'm lucky that I got this.
Lucky,
just on time,
yes.
just before time.
Exactly. Yes. All right. Now, luck. Most people take luck as, it comes and goes. And I would also say that typically luck is not an expectation. Correct? Or at least people might, but they don't really have confidence in their expectation of being lucky. Yes? Luck by definition is random. Yes? That's
Please
the meaning
keep going.
of luck.
I just want to know more.
Right. I just wanted to just establish my premises. That's why I say yes. You see, if you disagree, then I'll have to explain more. Yeah, or not disagree, but if you don't quite get it yet, right? So that's how I process this, so that we know we're on the same page. See, so I lay a foundation, and then okay, I accept that. All right, yes, right. So now, luck not typically an expectation, or at least not an expectation that people. Some people say, well, you know what, I'm lucky, or I want to be lucky, but they don't really have much confidence in that. However, when it comes to applying and implementing and living via way of impeccability and attunement, especially also, but way of impeccability most importantly. When we live impeccably and we are impeccable, luck becomes a default. May I repeat that? When we live impeccably, luck becomes a default. Luck now is an expectation. It's common, happens all the time. Look at our lives, Beena. Don't we have plenty, just wonderful luck, good luck all the time?
Yes.
Mostly we call it magic and marvel. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
But it's still, I mean, when you get magic in your life, isn't that lucky?
Exactly.
It is an expectation and a default when we live impeccably. Why? Because impeccability is about reducing to a minimum the chances of bad luck.
Say it again, please.
Impeccability, one of the side benefits of impeccability is, or at least side benefit, one of the things that we're doing when we are impeccable is that we are reducing the chances of the unforeseen. We are, in other words, bad luck. We are reducing the chances of bad luck happening to the absolute minimum. This is what impeccability is. So, of course, if we're reducing the chances of the bad luck, we're increasing the chances for the good luck. Go ahead.
Yes. So one of the perks of way of impeccability is having a deliberate good luck.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sorry, Syl, your sound is off.
Oh.
Okay, now it's
I don't
back.
know why.
Now it's back. Now it's back.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Oh, maybe the typing was muting it there. I had to type to somebody real quick. Yes. So impeccability and living in attunement is, these are an automatic benefit is increasing our luck. Automatic benefit. That's something.
Wow.
I mean, and there's a very good reason for it. It's not just like, oh, this just happens and oh, this is now, you know, I mean, the really good reason is because when we're being impeccable, we reduce the chances of bad luck and the unforeseen to an absolute minimum. We've done everything that we can to prevent bad luck from happening. We're being careful. We're being attentive. We're paying attention, right? We're being strategic. We're being thorough, diligent, conscientious, scrupulous. When you are thorough, diligent, conscientious, scrupulous, etc., yeah, and you're being deliberate, and you're paying attention, and you are doing your due diligence always, yeah. How is it that bad luck happens? Very small chance for it to happen. Of course, it can happen, but when you've been impeccable, it's never actually bad. It might seem so temporarily, but then when things don't go the way you anticipated or expected, it becomes fortuitous mistakes, which is, it's not a negative, it's a positive, right? So we eliminate that in our lives.
Yes.
And we start to live, we live fully the way life is intended to be, which is a brilliant, awesome, magical endeavor. Yes. It's a profound thing. So I just wanted to make this point about luck, that, you know, luck isn't something that is entirely random. Yeah. We assume luck. I mean, by definition, luck is random, but not really. Yeah. Luck is about strategic placement, strategicness, and making yourself available and unavailable, being accessible, being inaccessible. And likewise, it is about minimizing the unforeseen, yeah, at least the negative unforeseen. Just being strategic with your life, right? You can say, "Wow, it was bad luck. I had the accident." Were you really paying attention? See?
Not all the time. Yes.
Exactly. Not all the time. Now, mostly you have good luck in getting away with not having an accident when you're not paying attention driving, right? So we don't even notice the good luck we have. Yeah. If you're not paying attention and nothing happens, well, that's just because it didn't happen at that time that you weren't paying attention, and that's very lucky for you. Yeah, but don't rely on that good luck. See? Don't rely on that good luck, because the one time that it happens and you're not paying attention, oh, now I'm unlucky. No, you had lots of good luck, and you wasted it. You wasted it on a. There was no need for you to leverage the good luck there, or take advantage of the good luck by being inattentive. Did you really have to be inattentive while driving? No, you didn't have to be, right? So save that luck and use it elsewhere.
Yes.
Don't be wasting it on stuff like that, right? Driving is a serious business. Don't mess about with it. Don't mess about with it. Take it very seriously. Take it very seriously. It's a big deal. Just because we get away with it most of the time, doesn't mean that you cannot take it seriously. This is very flawed thinking, and it's very unimpeccable thinking, and we have to avoid doing that. It's not good at all. Yeah, it is very compromising. Very compromising. Brilliant, brilliant. All right, let's get going. Let's get going. I'm just checking to say hello to everybody. No one to say hello to just yet. Norma might be here, I think. There's Norma. There's Norma. Life and love is serious too. That's Norma. Exactly, Norma. Yes, exactly. Norma says life and love is serious too. Yes, and just like driving a car, life and love needs to be paid the exact same attention. Yes, with your life in general, and especially when it comes to love and relationships, treat it like driving the car. Pay attention. Don't take things for granted. It is a precious, precious, precious activity. If you don't pay attention, you're opening the door for bad luck to happen. And what's the bad luck? What is an accident in a relationship? You're not paying attention. You don't hear things properly. You don't connect properly. You don't understand properly. You don't check your understanding. You assume negative motivations when they aren't negative, etc., etc. All of that stuff can be avoided, right? All of the accidents in relationships can be avoided. Pay attention. Be thorough. Be diligent. Be scrupulous. Yes, act with integrity, assume moreness, be receptive, don't just, check, right? Sorry, Norma, yes, I was chatting. Norma says, hi, Beena, did hear you, grin. Did you want to say hello again? No,
Beena, yes, please? Thank you, Norma, thank you. Of course, yes, this is what I was saying. Hello, Norma, hello. Yeah. And yes, always, your comments always bring so much value and of course, so much moreness. It's always fun. And also it's very encouraging because like I always say that I love people and of course friends who actually just come and show up. It is actually showing up. When you are maybe, okay, you might not agree with everything, but it's still coming up, showing up. It's a big, huge deal. It's really inspiring for me. This is what I say about share also, because people who have experience and still they just want to learn and grow, it's really inspiring. So encouraging for everyone. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yes. We assume that when we're in a good relationship and we love the person, we get joy and we think they're wonderful and magical, that we don't have to really do anything. Yeah, but that's not so. That's not so at all. Right? Relationships require attention and effort. And it's like driving. It's not a lot of effort, it's not a lot of attention, but you still need to be paying attention. Yeah. Right? If you just put on your cruise control and tune out with driving, you can get away with it most of the time, but not all of the time, right? And, I think the chances in relationships of things just through pure misunderstanding and poor communication, this is actually the most common issue in relationships. Misunderstanding, poor communication. It's amazing, just that. Right? And where does that miscommunication come from? Yes. Typically in relationships, if you pay attention, it comes from, poor communication. But why don't we hear what's being communicated? Because typically we don't always say what we mean. Secondly, what we say is not heard the way it is said or meant. Why? Because of assumption of motivation. When we hear something, we are so concerned with ourselves and with being loved and with maintaining a good image with the other person and making sure they love us, etc., that the tiniest that we become hypersensitive to perceived criticism, perceived. Yeah? So when they say something, we hear it as if it were meant critically or negatively, yeah? When it's not. We have to be very careful of that. So we have to be very careful of how we hear, because how we hear, how we filter, how we interpret, what we assume, that's our doing. It's nothing to do with the person that we love. Huh? Nothing whatsoever. So we have to assume, first of all, if you love somebody and you really love them, are they not a good person? Yes, of course. That's one of the reasons you love them. You're not going to love a bad person. Well, you might, but if you know they're a good person, why would you think their motivations are anything other than good? No matter what you hear. In other words, we got to trust, not trust what we hear and what we think we hear, but we got to trust the other's intent to goodness. And know that even though they may have done something that came out all wrong, but they were trying to be good in some peculiar way. That happens all the time, right? Usually comes from the male grin. Yes, yes, yes. Males are always to blame. The villains, the dastardly scoundrels. Yes. Love usually speaks clearly. Yes, it does, Norma. But the problem is most people don't hear it. Why? Because they don't think they are lovable. So when love is coming their way, if I don't think I'm lovable, then I don't hear the love, even though it's there. That's what I'm saying. See, communication, perception. Most problems in relationships come because of the internal misperception of what was said, what was done. In other words, very simply, there is a misinterpretation or a misassigning of motivation and intent. Yeah, because we are sensitive and we're insecure, whatever the reasons are. Now we hear things in a way they weren't meant to be, and then it's a problem, right? There isn't a problem, but we've made one because we hear what wasn't there, right? But this is the problem, right? We trust our assumptions, we trust our interpretations, we trust our filters. In other words, I feel it, therefore it must be true. No, absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Just because you felt aggrieved, you felt insulted, you felt bothered, whatever, doesn't mean it is so that this is what was coming your way. No, no. It's your issues that you now putting onto your partner. Don't do that. Don't do that, right? Trust your partner always, always, or your loved one or your friend or whoever. Trust them, trust them, trust them. Now, it's possible they may be having a bad day and they were a bit nasty. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll say, well, that sounded really nasty, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and assuming they didn't mean, then check with them. You say, wow, you know what you said there, that I know you have a good intent to goodness. I know you love me and I know you're a good person. So it seems a bit peculiar to me. Can you clarify? Did you mean it to be nasty? And they're like, oh, geez, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I didn't. Well, yes, I said it. And at the time it was, but well, I don't really mean it. You know, yeah, it came out that way. I'm sorry. But give them an opportunity if they were, you know, just defaulting into old habits or whatever, right? Or just, okay, give them a chance to fix it. Yeah? Instead of getting into a whole big argument, oh, you were nasty to me. Yeah? Give them that chance to because that's life how it is. We aren't always who we'd like to be. Inside, yes, we are, but our behavior isn't, because we've been so trained and conditioned to do things that we're supposed to do. Yeah? And most of it is based on misperception, miscommunication, etc. So trust, 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 and have capital R receptivity, which means you're taking it in as positive, but then you check, right? So with trust, it's always trust but verify. Yeah, always trust but verify. Check, 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 check. And then also you have the extra benefit when you do that checking. You're checking to see that it was positive, not checking to see it was negative, right? So it doesn't make sense to me that this was, and most of the time they can say, no, I didn't mean that at all. Sorry, I meant it this way. And okay, they didn't come out so well. but you give the opportunity. Now, also what you're doing, you're training your ear to listen positively, and you are confirming to your friend, your partner, whoever, you're confirming that you love them, that you trust them, that you believe they're a good person, that you know they're a good person, and you change your relationship paradigm, right? So you don't doubt when things come and they don't make sense to you. Then, oh, how could she have meant that positively? Or how could he have meant, what's going on here? And you check. So you're practicing your attention, you're practicing your discernment, you're practicing your own skills of not misinterpreting according to your issues. Yeah. Very key. Very key. So very big deal. Very, very big deal, right? Make your own luck when it comes to your relationships.
Yes. Okay. This is very interesting. We never talk about this luck thing in detail ever. But this is now going to be in my mind, and then of course at some point we are going to go into details about that, because it's a big deal, big part of our understanding how we perceive life, how we perceive events in our life, and how we perceive actually overall in general that how empowered we actually are. And it's a big deal to understand that how we can actually create our own luck. As Syl was mentioning, that one of the perks of Way-Of-Impeccability is to have a deliberate good luck. Okay. We cannot, yes, there are certain percentage, of course, you cannot do anything about it. And even then, you can choose to how you are going to respond to that. But yes, say incidents happen and all these things. So yes, at some point, Syl, soon in future, we are going to discuss more in detail about luck. The other thing was, whenever in relationship, I just want to add something here, that whenever we are in relationship and everything is all goody and everything is good, like in friends and of course in a spouse or whatever type of relationship, even with teachers and students, parents or anyone, in any relationship, of course things are good, and then suddenly something happened. In that particular moment, we need to understand that being in relationship of any kind with this person was my choice. And it was my intent to be in relation, because I truly respect my choices and my decisions. So I'm not going to just by just one incident, I'm going to say that, oh, it was all bad, which means that I was not making impeccable choices at first time. I do respect my choices. So I always give margin, because, okay, yes, things can happen, and keep it in isolation. This situation, in this particular situation, this particular perspective is not the entirety of that person. This person or me even is not that whole thing just about that. So how can I just let it go like this? Oh yes, okay, so now it's bad. So that means that that person is bad. Oh, our relationship is bad. No, I don't believe in this type of thinking. And this really changes my whole life. And whatever relationships I have, like with my parents, with my siblings, with my neighbors, with my friends, every relationship is so valuable and so precious, and I'm getting so much value out of it. Every single day I'm getting value.
Exactly. So this, we need to establish as a default an insistence on connecting to the good intent of our friend and loved ones. We have to insist on connecting to that good intent. Never, ever, ever can we doubt that intent. We can check it, absolutely, but never doubt it. Our default is to know that their intent to goodness is unquestioned. Yeah. Now, it may be that, yes, you have this and people can behave contrary to that, but that's why we check. Yeah. It is possible. And when you've been in a relationship where people have behaved badly and violated our trust, this is a severe issue and very, very serious. And very, very serious. And it causes a lot of problems, right? So people who do that, just know that when you abuse trust in your goodness, it is one of the most egregious things you can ever do. It's very consequential, very consequential. But we have to also understand this, Just because some people can behave badly, it doesn't mean all people do. And this is our strategy. Yes, trust but verify. Trust but verify. Check, 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 check. Always. You don't have to ever accept that as it they just, well, I'm without question, I'm going to accept their goodness. No, check every time. But at least make that effort to check. Because otherwise you end up with problems for no good reason whatsoever, simply because of suspicion, because of previous experiences, because of bad habits. That is not nice. If you love somebody, that is part of love, is that you now give them that understanding that you trust their intent to goodness, right? Right? This is very key. This is very key. Beena dropped. Beena dropped. Very, very key. All right. Well, we shall continue with reading Carlos and his academic share. All right. This is where we left off yesterday. He's going through what he understands the component elements of a man of knowledge is, right? Man of knowledge had unbending intent. Man of knowledge had clarity of mind, which we said really needs to be clarity of intent. To become a man of knowledge is a man of strenuous labor. This again, we said this is an old paradigm idea of what learning involves, stress and hard work and suffering. No, if you live in attunement and you're impeccable, everything is a joy and it's wonderful and marvelous, right? So we bring in a moreness here and we're reading this understanding that Carlos is sharing via the lens of the superiority paradigm and defaults. And let's not fall into that trap, right? This is why we're doing the capital R reading. We don't fall into this trap of believing that learning is something stressful and onerous. It's absolute nonsense. Play is the most joyful thing ever. So the very definition of play. And play is also learning. Yeah. And when we play, we love to make strenuous effort. It's a great joy. And it's very cool. And we have no complaints and no problems. We make every effort when we're playing. Yeah. See, play. Play to learn. Learn to play. Right? Play to learn to play. Yeah. Capital P, play, is when you combining your joy and fun. You're having fun learning and growing. It's the most rewarding thing ever. Now we come to a very important point here. A man of knowledge was a warrior. I have a lot to say about this, but I'm going to read it first, and then hopefully Beena will be back before I share on the Nobelia perspective on warriors. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. A man of knowledge was a warrior. The existence of a man of knowledge was an unceasing struggle, and the idea that he was a warrior, leading a warrior's life, provided one with the means for achieving emotional stability. The idea of a man at war encompassed four concepts. A man of knowledge had to have respect. He had to have fear. He had to be wide awake. He had to be self-confident. Hence, to be a warrior was a form of self-discipline which emphasized individual accomplishment, yet it was a standard in which personal interests were reduced to a minimum. As in most instances, personal interest was incompatible with the rigor needed to perform any predetermined obligatory act. All right, now, lots of complication in here. I just want to unpack this. First of all, these 4 points, these are most excellent, right? You have to have respect, due respect. Very important to add in due there. It is absolutely intrinsic in Way-Of-Impeccability, one of the definitions of what impeccability means. Impeccability means, among other things, to have due respect. Due is very important because due brings in appropriateness. Yeah. So you can just as well say, right, a person of knowledge, I don't care for this man thing, a person of knowledge has to have appropriate respect. In other words, you don't respect somebody simply because they want you to respect them, like dictators. No, sorry, you can't force respect. Respect can never be demanded. It can only be commanded. Yeah? Due respect, very important. You have to have fear. You might say, why? Now, this is actually, taking this right out of Way-Of-Impeccability, because I actually use this, Don Juan puts it as a quote. And I used it and I elaborate on it because it's very powerful. Because in Way of Impeccability, I use the conception of a spirit warrior, but I will elaborate more. I will elaborate more on that as we get there. Let me just take care of somebody here. This whole idea of fear, though, now we say, well, how does fear work into this? That seems a bit negative to me. That doesn't seem to be very cool. Why do we have fear? Fear is used strategically to leverage the power and potency of fear. Why? Because let's say you're walking through the forest, right? Or maybe the concrete jungle, right? And you're walking through the jungle, whether it be now nature jungle, concrete jungle, doesn't matter. And you know there is potential danger out there. If you walk around without fear, la 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 la, are you paying attention? No. Now, well, okay, I could pay attention, but that kind of takes effort. If you feel just a little bit of fear, your attention is automatically leveraged, is it not? Absolutely, yeah. You know you're in a space that there's potential danger. You've got that little bit of fear, and it's keeping you alert. It's keeping you paying attention. And also, when we have that bit of fear that is now leveraging our alertness and our attention, it also leverages us to feel alive. Yeah. Because when we feel that fear and we are being deliberate about it, I'm going into this deliberately, I'm now adding deliberateness into it. And whenever we act deliberately, this is being alive, right? So now I'm deliberately paying attention. I'm heightened by awareness. Everything is exciting. Everything has a moreness to it. Yes, everything is heightened. So to have that little bit of fear going through life, it raises us, right, into that point of deliberateness. Yes, yeah, yeah. Let me take this. All right, so this point of fear is very, very, very powerful, right? This is yeah. It's a magic source. It's again that potency of leverage, yeah. And when we really, really understand the magic and the awesome and the power of leverage, it really, really adds to our lives. Yes, very potent, very, very, very potent. So this fear is, now we got respect and we got fear. Now, in conjunction with respect and fear, yeah, a person of knowledge has to be wide awake. Of course, if you have fear and you're not wide awake, well, that's just a very miserable way of being. Yeah, you are not taking advantage. You're not leveraging the fear. Now you're just feeling afraid, right? The wide awake is the part that I said earlier, paying attention. Yes, being connected, being alive, being energized, right? Being leveraged. And of course, yes, when we do this, when we are paying attention and we are wide awake and we have that fear which is leveraging us, it's now excitement rather than, it's roller coaster fear, I guess, right? But it's real, it is, but you're not taking it as a negative, right? We assume fear is a negative. No, that is a mood that we put onto fear, and it's become associated. But you can have fear and not be a negative, yeah. Because let's take thrill. Let's take the word thrill. Isn't thrill positive fear? Yeah, it is, right? So when we are enthralled or feeling a bit of a thrill, right? That's when we utilize this positively. But when we combine respect and wide awake, which is attention, yeah. And then we say, okay, I'm going to trust in my impeccability. I'm going to trust in my skills, etc. You have to be self-confident. This is very, very key. Now, Carlos says self-confident. Don Juan in the original quote said, I must have absolute self-assurance, which is a different thing slightly to self-confident. Yes, you can argue it means the same, but there are nuances that do make a difference, right? When we are self-assured, there's a good reason for it. We have assurance. We can have confidence without any assurance. And then you get that bombastic, basic, hollow confidence, which is very dangerous. Self-assurance, on the other hand, is to say, I have good reason for this assurance. And what is it? What is the good reason for? I am paying attention. I am leveraging my awareness. I'm paying attention to attunement. And I know I live in attunement. And from experience with living in attunement, right, I have a great trust in attunement, bringing into my awareness, if I'm paying attention, that which I would not otherwise be able to be aware of. Or attunement will divert me. I don't know there's danger up ahead, and by the time I see it, the danger sees me and it's too late. Attunement will give me an anomaly that says, oh, don't go this way, go this way. You say, but why? But why? Well, it's an anomaly. Okay, well, I trust the anomaly. See, you have no reason for it, but you trust, because you've learned to act without agenda. So you can respond to that anomaly, even though it's like, yeah, but you're making me go the long way around. I don't want to do this. No, you set aside that. You have no personal preferences. You do because it is asked of you. End of story. And you trust it is good and right, whether you can see the logic or not. We unhook from the normal way of thinking and we connect to a deeper, bigger, spiritual, more encompassing way of being. Living in attunement, very big deal. And this is what we base our assurance on, self-assurance, not confidence. Carlos is using confidence here as a synonym, but it's not. Yeah, self-assurance. So go back to the original quote. We pulled it into our quote file. I can probably tell you what part it is, what page it is, because it was one of the very early quotes. And I think I put the page number here in my quote file. Let's see. Goes to all wide awake. Yeah, with fear, respect. It's there, page 17, I think, between page 16 and 20, somewhere. Yeah. So in the beginning, right? Between page 16 and 20, somewhere. All right. So very, very potent quote that, right? And these 4 criteria are very important. Let's continue, right? And again, too, the other point here that Carlos says, hence, to be a warrior was a form of self-discipline, yes, which emphasized individual accomplishment. You and you alone are responsible. And I would rather say that which emphasized individual responsibility rather than accomplishment. Yes, when you say individual responsibility, then your accomplishment is your responsibility. And whatever you do comes about when you are being responsible, comes about because of your actions. You see? Little nuance twist there. But again, Carlos is writing about stuff that he doesn't fully understand, capital U understand, just as yet. But it's good for us because we can see this, we can see the translation coming from this to really knowing what's going on, right? Yet it was a stand in which personal interests were reduced to a minimum. Yes, that is learning to act without agenda. Now, he doesn't say it here because he's not aware of why. Yeah. Why do you reduce a personal interest to a minimum? So that you can act and live via attunement. Attunement will tell you and put you on a path and you have no idea why. Right? You can't see the bigger picture. You don't have any idea why. If you don't have personal interests, you can act according to that, right? Our personal interests, we think what's good for us, but we only know what's good for us relative to our limited bubble awareness, our limited bubble experience. We have no idea what's best for us because we don't have access to universal information. That's why we live in attunement. It's the most profound understanding. Yes. It's a most profound understanding. I have a story called The Gift of Intent. You can probably Google it. And I don't know, maybe it won't come up on Google. But if you really want to know more about this, I can send you the story. Yeah, that goes into detail about this awareness, this understanding. Very, very powerful story. Yeah? And so this is very important, right? And then he says, Carlos goes on to say, personal interest was reduced to a minimum, as in most instances, personal interest was incompatible with the rigor needed to perform any predetermined obligatory act. And here again, he misunderstands They aren't predetermined or obligatory. They're just a sensibility from the universe. You can choose to be stupid or not. So is it obligatory to always choose the most sensible choice? No. But kind of. Yeah. It's not actually obligatory, like in which you have no choice. You have a choice, but you have a choice to be stupid. Yeah? So Carlos misunderstands this, and he thinks that part of this is very specific proscribed steps, because that's his academic mind that wants there to be precise, exact things, because he doesn't trust himself. And for good reason, because he's indulgent and he doesn't understand, and he's got a lot of nonsense going on in his life. So he has good reason not to trust himself. Yeah. And when people don't trust themselves and they know they're being indulgent and they don't want to make the effort, they don't want to learn, etc., then they want these precise, exact steps. Life doesn't work that way. You cannot have precise steps, because you may be repeating the exact same thing as somebody else, but there's always a change. Why? Because I'm different to you. Time is different. The universe has changed. It may seem the same to you, but it's never the same, right? It changes every moment. So very important to understand this. Very, very, very important. Let me just check and see if there's any comments here before I continue. Yeah, and trust in the higherness. Yes, exactly. Trust the universe. Absolutely, absolutely. Our trust in the it's part of impeccability, is to trust. When you've done everything that you can do, right? You've been thorough, you've been diligent, you've been scrupulous, you've been conscientious. Yes, you've acted with integrity. You've done your due diligence. You've done your research. You've done everything that you can do. When you've done all that, how do you know it's enough? You have no idea. But you've done all you can do. The only thing left to do is trust that things will work out for the positive. Not necessarily work out the way you're trying to make them work out, because you know that's just the best that I know. There may be a better than that. You trust they will work out for the best, whether that was what you think it's going to be or not. But they will work out positively. You trust. You have to trust. Yes, you have to trust. This is capital T, trust. It's based on impeccability. But if you trust without being impeccable, now it's just wishful thinking. Now it's just hope. Now it's also indulgence for them. Oh, you've had friends, right? And they don't do what they need to do. Oh, I trust it'll work out. And then, of course, most of the time it doesn't. Yeah, it's just indulgence. Yeah, no, not good. So trust, capital T, trust. Of all the things that stick with the participants of Way of Impeccability that they use on a daily basis, capital T, trust. Incredible. Incredible. More so even than attunement, because they haven't quite gotten, some of them, yet to living fully in attunement. Yeah, it's difficult. It takes a while. But trust, oh, this they use all the time. And when I come back and they come and chat, always trust comes up into it. Always. Very powerful. Let's continue. A man of knowledge in his role of warrior was obligated to have an attitude of differential regard for the items with which he dealt. That's just having due respect for everything. Again, we're in Carlos's intellectual mode, and I was going to say this yesterday. It is really interesting, as part of Way of Impeccability, we apply a perception and an awareness of intent. Not the other person's intent, but it's part of it, but we ask the question, what is the intent here overall? So now we see, in this instance, we see Carlos's intent, we see the universe's intent, etc. But let's just look at Carlos's intent as one of the intents. Yeah? And when we say in this structural analysis, what is Carlos's intent? Is his intent to really understand? Not really. A little bit, yes. But his intent is to sound important for his lecturers and testers in the university. It's so clear, it's so obvious, right? That he writes things which could be said a lot simpler, but he writes it in this fancy intellectual way, which leverages the importance of what he's saying. Learn to see through that, learn to see through it and past it, right? It's part of our capital R reading skills, which comes from our capital H hearing skills, which are perception skills. See them all. Discernment skills, understanding skills, right? Contextual awareness skills. Very, very powerful, right? So a man of knowledge in his role of warrior was obligated to have an attitude of deferential regard for the items with which he sat. Have due respect. He had to imbue everything related to his knowledge with profound respect in order to place everything in its meaningful perspective. If you cannot have due respect, you cannot live in attunement, because you will have no awareness that the world does not work the way you think it does. Yeah? This is very key. And when we understand that everything is magical and everything is valuable, therefore everything has respect, you start to live in a different universe. Everything is valuable, everything is therefore as deserves respect. Yeah? If something is bad, that doesn't mean you don't respect it any less. See? When the lion comes to want to eat me, I can't not respect the lion's power, the lion's hunger, the lion's energy. See? It's conditional, appropriate, due respect. The lion might be a horrible, crappy lion, a very nasty, ugly lion, and they are such. Lions have personalities just like people do. Yeah? There might be a very horrible, nasty lion. I don't respect his character, his personality, or hers, either way. Yeah? But I respect their power. And same with people. You've been in an abusive relationship. You respect the fact that this person can cause you harm. I don't respect them as a person, but I respect the fact that they can be nasty, they can be ugly, they can be horrid, they can be mean, cruel, unkind, etc. See? So when we understand respect and we respect respect, then we are respecting differently. Yes? Right? See? So when we say respect, we mustn't do it in superiority paradigm terms only, which means, oh, I must think you're wonderful. No, I think, like, you know, you're a horrible person, but I respect your ability to be horrible. Yeah. It's like when you're driving a car and you got to respect the power of other cars. This is a weapon potentially, right? It is a very dangerous thing. See? You respect conditionally, in other words, respect appropriately, respect precisely. I think I was hearing Beena coming on there. Are you back, Beena? Yeah. Yeah. Say something, Beena.
Yes, yes.
There we
I'm
go.
back.
There we go. All right, brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant. All right. All right. So I'm just going through this. We've gone over this many times here, right? A man of knowledge was a warrior, right? And I'll just read it as a recap for Beena, and then I'll continue to where I was. The existence of a man of knowledge was an unceasing struggle, and the idea that he was a warrior, leading a warrior's life, provided one of the means for achieving emotional stability. The idea of a person at war encompassed four concepts. A person of knowledge had to have respect. They had to have fear. They had to be wide awake, and they had to be self-confident. Hence, to be a warrior was a form of self-discipline which emphasized individual accomplishment. Yet it was a stand in which personal interests were reduced to a minimum. As in most instances, personal was incompatible with the rigor needed to perform any predetermined obligatory act. A person of knowledge in their role of warrior was obliged to have an attitude of deferential regard for the items with which they dealt. They had to imbue everything related to their knowledge with profound respect in order to place everything in a meaningful perspective. Having respect was equivalent to having assessed one's insignificant resources when facing the unknown. That's where I left off. This is the new sentence now. Right? So, Beena, we've gone over, you're aware of all the problems, right? And one I pointed out was the difference between self-confidence and self-assurance, not potentially a point that we've emphasized before. Self-assurance is based on you've been assured. There's something to back up this feeling. Self-confident, I can feel confident just because I want to, and that can lead to hollowness, right? So we have to be careful. Self-assurance, much better term than self-confidence, because self-assurance means that you have something to back it up. And what do you back it up? Your impeccability, of course, right? And your experience.
Yes, self-confidence, the word confidence derived from con, which you can con yourself, and then, okay, yes,
exactly.
You have nothing actually, but it's still, so yes.
Exactly. But I like this sentence here. Having respect was equivalent to having assessed one's insignificant resources when facing the unknown. Yes, when we know that we are insignificant according to the unknown, yeah, then how can you not have respect for all of this? Yeah. And how could you then not be impeccable and do everything you possibly can? Like I was saying earlier with luck, you want to reduce your chances of the unforeseen happening to a minimum. That's actually a quote from Don Juan. It comes much later in books 4 or 5 somewhere. Yeah. But it's a powerful quote and always stuck with me. I like this. I like this. There's something I always applied in my life. I never used that phrasing, but I can't find a better way to say it. Right? So you accept it, you make it your own. It's mine now, right? I make every effort to reduce the chances of the unforeseen, the chances of negativity, the chances of bad luck. I minimize the chances for bad luck. Right? That's it. So it's risk management. I apply risk management in my life. How? Via impeccability. Very simple, right? Risk management. We all understand risk management. You know, corporate. If you're in corporate somewhere, risk management is one of those buzzwords that are all around, right? If one remained in that frame of thought, the idea of respect was logically extended to include oneself. This is a great point also. I've said this many, many times, very powerful as part of Way-Of-Impeccability. And I say it many times to my friends also, when they're unhappy and miserable and self-critical. I said, you love the universe, right? They say, yes, yes. You think everything in the universe deserves to be loved? Yes, yes, yes. Are you a part of the universe? Well, yeah, I guess so. Well, yes. Oh, yeah, I'm a part of the universe. Well, then, you just said 2 minutes ago, everything in the universe deserves to be loved. Why aren't you loving yourself then? And they're like, okay, I don't know if they ever actually make their mouths like that, but that's what it seems like to me. Yes. If you're one of my friends and you had that conversation, that's how I pictured you going, right? Yeah, not looking too good. Yeah, well, because it's kind of nonsense that you don't love yourself. You're a part of the universe, for heaven's sake. Due respect. Give yourself due respect. Yes, you may be a nincompoop, but doesn't mean you cannot also have magic and wonder and moreness. Doesn't mean you have an intent to goodness. You do. Your intent to goodness, that alone deserves love. That alone deserves love, right? You have a profound and deep intent to goodness. Trust it and love it. You have to love yourself. That's your personality. That's what's learning and growing. Your intent to goodness. This is who you really are. Someone who has an intent to goodness. As such, you are lovable. End of story. No argument. No argument. Yeah? Right. If one remained in that frame of thought, the idea of respect was logically extended to include oneself. For one was as unknown as the unknown itself. Yes. One of the intents that we cultivate as part of Way-of-Impeccability is the intent for, or the intent to, profound surprise, not only from the universe, but from ourselves. When we learn to be surprised by ourselves, this is an accomplishment. It's the most fantastic thing. Every now and then you'll do something and something, wow, and you surprise yourself with your own actions, abilities, thoughts, ideas, creativity, whatever. It is a most marvelous, wonderful thing to realize we are more than we think we are. We are enough, but we are also more. Yeah? It's a fantastic thing. And that moreness, when you get moreness from yourself, you get surprised. Get moreness from the universe. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing. Right, Beena? You've experienced this many times.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of creativity, I remember when we specifically and deliberately went full immersion into leveraging creativity. All the steps involved, creating the space for it, and all the understandings and awareness, right? To deliberately create creativity, in other words, which sounds a bit oxymoronic, but it's not actually, because you're creating the space. But really what it was creating the space, the environment, the techniques, the setup, the capital T, trust, to surprise yourself. Right, Beena? And I remember when we did this, when we were doing that art course, that didn't really do much for it. Anyway, And we went into this specifically, and when you were doing the paintings deliberately, right? And also the poems,
Yes.
how the stuff came, and there was that personal surprise and joy. Yes, I remember the joy.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Most amazing
Wonderful.
experiences. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And it's one we will repeat. Yes, you just have to make time for it. Yeah.
Yes.
The exercise of so sobering a feeling of respect transformed the apprenticeship of this specific knowledge, which may otherwise have appeared to be absurd, into a very rational alternative. Yeah. So when you are dealing with the unknown, and I prefer to call it moreness, because the unknown has that taint to it from superiority paradigm, fear culture. The unknown is by default fearful. That's it. If you look up in the dictionary in a thesaurus, and you look up antonyms, right, for fear, at least, or synonyms for fear, you will see unknown, right? Unknown, fear, synonymous. Yeah. So this, we don't want that. Moreness, on the other hand, it's the same thing. Yeah. When you're venturing into moreness, it's the same as venturing into unknown, except you now have a positive expectation, and rationally, reasonably, and based on our experience of existence. Right? The unknown is more positive than it is negative. Why? Because life thrives and life is growing. If there was more negative than positive, life would be shrinking. Yeah. The fact that life grows means there's more positive than negative out there. Yeah? That's it. Very basic, very simple. So this, when we say the unknown and we assume it is dangerous and fearful, that's not valid logically and reasonably. No, there's way more moreness out there. And of course, if you're attentive, right, and you're impeccable, and you're reducing your chances of the unforeseen, of bad luck, of negative to the absolute minimum, then you are going to be connecting to moreness, overwhelmingly so. And when you're paying attention in life, you're going to see trouble before it sees you, and then you get out of the way. It's as simple as that. When you're paying attention to attunement, you're going to take the path that you might not take, but you take it. Why? Because this is a better path, and that avoids the trouble, and you don't even know it's there yet. So this is an incredible moreness. This is why moreness is a philosophy. It's a culture, not just a thought, not just an idea, not just a fun, clever word. No, no, it's a big deal. In other words, there is a profound, sublime moreness to moreness. Changes everything. It's a big deal. That's why we call what we're doing the sharing of moreness culture. We can say moreness paradigm, moreness philosophy, but moreness culture is the application of it, right? Very cool. Very cool stuff. Very big deal. Very big deal. Yeah, okay. Very cool. So big deal. Right. The idea of respect was logically extended to include oneself, for one was as unknown as the universe itself. The exercise of so sobering a feeling of respect transformed the apprenticeship of this specific knowledge, which may otherwise have appeared absurd, into a very rational alternative. Yeah, the universe doesn't work the way we think it does. Attunement from a superiority paradigm perspective is very absurd, and yet magic is also absurd. Beena, do we not live in a magical world? Do we not have magic in our lives on a regular basis?
Yes. Yes.
And
Every
yet it's
single day.
absurd. And yet it is
Oh,
absurd.
yes. Yes.
Now, when it comes to magic, I need to quote. I'm not talking about zimzalabim magic necessarily, right? And when I'm talking about magic, capital M magic, I'm talking about profoundness, moreness, joy, the sublime, that which brings your sense of awe to the fore, luck, whatever, doesn't matter, right? And again, right, I want to quote Biala here when it comes to magic. Yeah, Biala said, most profoundly, she said, if you do not believe in magic, for heaven's sake, change your description, change your understanding of what it means. Yeah, I forget the exact quote now. She said a very nice line, right? Yeah. So, but change your definition. That's what she said. Yes. If you do not believe in magic, then for heaven's sake, change your definition or update your definition, right? That's it. It's all about how we define things. This is why the language of conceptionality is so important, because we are even going beyond the definitions. We are going into conceptions. And when you go into conceptions, the whole world changes. Right? Very, very, very powerful. Conceptions are open-ended. Definitions are closed. Right? It's very, very potent. Another necessity to continue. Another necessity of a warrior's life was the need to experience and carefully, it's a typo here, to experience carefully, and was the need to experience and to carefully evaluate the sensation of fear. The ideal was that, in spite of fear, one had to proceed with the course of one's acts. Fear was supposed to be conquered, and there was an alleged time in the life of a man of knowledge, a person of knowledge, when it was vanquished. But first, one had to be conscious of being afraid and duly to evaluate the sensation. Don Juan asserted that one was capable of conquering fear only by facing it. Yes, really, it's not so much facing the fear, but facing yourself. Fear is a byproduct of our internal awareness of ourselves, our internal way of being. That is what is fear. Like I said earlier, fear and thrill are on the same deal, right? When people are going on the roller coaster, it's a thrill. That's why it's called a thrill ride. Yeah, but it's they are experiencing the fear positively. That's what thrill is. The positive experience of fear. Fear is not inherently negative. We put the negative onto it. Yeah? Fear is an energizing effect. Right? It's a leveraging. Right? Our adrenaline gets kicked up. We get into heightened awareness. We're paying attention. We're alert. We're energized. That's all positive. We don't, just because danger is involved, it doesn't mean it has to be negative. Yeah, like on the roller coaster. See? So all it is changing your association with these activities and understanding just because there's danger doesn't mean I have to be afraid. Let me repeat that. Just because there's danger does not mean I have to be afraid. I can, but it's a choice. Like everything else, it's a choice. Take firemen. They feel afraid, yet they go into the fire. Some of them will experience the thrill of it. Yeah. People can get addicted to stuff like this too, on the negative side again, right? And they can seek danger inappropriately because they get addicted to the thrill. Again, we need to have sobriety so that we don't have this, right? That's just part of one of the key criteria of being impeccable. It develops a sobriety. Yeah? So important to understand this. And when we do, it's not about facing fear itself. It's about just dealing with your own nonsense inside. It's an awareness issue. When you have appropriate awareness, appropriate attention, fear is no longer an issue. Yeah? You may have habits which make you feel fearful. When something comes, it triggers you. All right, that's association management once again. Habit management, right? Very important. You can deal with it. You can deal with it, right? Don't be a slave to your habits. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Right, Beena? Let me put Beena on mute. Some background sounds there.
Yes.
Okay, that's a problem. Say hello to whoever says that, Duskatari and Lubna.
Yes.
Oh, hello Duskatari and hello Lubna. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we all. I'm here, and okay, I have many people around here. But this is something what you are sharing, Syl. Yeah. This is the very good example of perspective shifting.
Oh yeah.
Because fear and excitement, as you were mentioning and elucidating, that they're just one thing, and like, okay, yes, but we need to understand that it is a leverage, and we never consider fear as leverage. Mostly, okay, we don't.
We don't consider it as positive leverage.
Yes. Thank you. Exactly. We don't consider that, but we can, and this empowerment right there. See, when people ask me that, okay, the transformation, okay, yes, how many transformation you have experienced, or any transformation you have experienced in way of impeccability throughout this journey. And for me, it's like every single day. Right now, what you are sharing is life-changing.
Yes.
For a person whose life is dominated by fear, this is life-changing right now.
Huge stuff. Huge, 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 huge stuff, right? Simple things, but when we understand and we have awareness, discernment, understanding, and we've taken that and we've applied it, we practice it, capital P practice, it changes. Changes. This is what Beena and I do every day. We come on here and we are applying so many of all of the conceptions, all of the tools, the techniques, the strategies, the awarenesses of Way-Of-Impeccability. We are applying them. We are putting Moreness-Culture into practice, applying. That leads to a self-assurance. Does it not, Beena?
Yes.
We are tweaking, refining all the time, but from an abstract overview level, not specific details. Those happen, yes, but they come as a result of the overall. And that's what leads to the self-assurance, because I know I'm applying an abstract overview concept. Yes, not dealing with a specific. When you deal with one specific thing precisely, where's your confidence? A lot of people try and pull confidence from that, but it doesn't work. Why? Because the circumstances for that exact precise thing may never replicate. When you have the abstract, it doesn't matter the precise circumstances. You can apply it from the abstract perspective. Yeah, not a problem. Right? And we have that ability to adapt, in other words, right, to the circumstance precisely. We'll end it here. There's actually, I was looking to do just this section today on a warrior. But now the next paragraph here, awareness of intent. Just that alone, that's going to be a long discussion here, right? And also I want to, tomorrow, Beena was holding it off. I want to share the Nobelia perspective on a warrior, right? The Moreness-Culture perspective on warrior. But
please,
I was wanting to get through this section. Not very long, but there was so much in here. We're unpacking it all. Very powerful stuff, right? Even sometimes, even though Carlos gets it a bit wrong, doesn't matter. That helps us because it highlights and pulls attention to the differences, like the difference between self-confidence and self-assurance. You know, the original quote from Don Juan was self-assurance, not self-confidence, right? Know your stuff, know it in detail. Yeah, that's what makes what we do very valuable. We aren't sharing stuff that we sort of think we know, that we believe we know. No, we really do know it. Yeah, I would never share to this level if I did not feel I really, really know that. I don't have that arrogance, right? I absolutely do not. I can only really share when I feel that I really, really know my stuff. In other words, that I'm expert on it. Does that mean that I can't know more? No, absolutely not. I know I can know more, and I'm always making an effort to know more, right? But we really do know this stuff. Right? I mean, like that quote. I know that quote, and I know that he said assurance, not because it's a big deal, that word assurance. It's what made the quote valuable to me in the first place. Yeah. Hey, spammer, go away. Not cool, mate. Not cool. I don't know where this is coming from. Is that YouTube? I'll ban them on YouTube. Dude, you know, when you do this, do you really expect somebody to now go and click and follow your things? It is completely unrelated to what we're doing. Yeah. Secondly, when you do this, right? I'm talking to Stockopocalypse, Stockocalypse. So I'm talking to you, dude. Right? Now, think about the implications of what you're doing here. You are clearly spamming and thoroughly inappropriately. Why would I trust anything you have to say? You are clearly telling me that you're an inappropriate person. Whatever you are pushing and selling, no matter how valid that is, because you are doing so inappropriately, I cannot go there because you've tainted it. Yeah. So when you do this, it's actually counterproductive. Because if I come across you some other way, you've already proven to me that, let's say I'm searching stock or whatever the stuff is, right? And I come across you. Oh, I remember you. You were the guy who was inappropriately spamming. Oh, no, thanks. I don't want anything to do with this. Because you have taught me that you are inappropriate. And you don't pay attention and you don't have any respect. You got no due respect here. You got no respect at all, right? And it's a foolishness, in other words, that you're engaging in here. A counterproductive foolishness based on what? Greed. You see an opportunity, oh yeah, I can spam. Anywhere I can spam, I spam. And never realizing it's counterproductive. You're doing yourself harm, not better. Yeah. Leverage your energy. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Yeah. Like in this case, see? Just unimpeccability, which is poor use of energy. Impeccability, best use of energy. Very poor use of energy, yeah. Counterproductive. Pay attention, people. Pay attention. Don't be greedy. Don't be in a bubble. Don't just be doing your things because you think you should be doing it. Yeah, no, terrible, terrible. Very sad, right? But an opportunity for us to emphasize about due respect and impeccability. So it's a gift from the universe. See how magical my life is. Not a negative, it's a positive. Even though what they are doing is inherently negative, it's to me a positive, a moreness. Right, Beena?
Yes. Yes.
And so look at philosophy of opposite. Look at philosophy of opposite here. Right? He says in the second post, you will make at least 50 cents a share and take it from bad people. Talking about yourself, too. Likely you and whoever you're with in, this is probably a whole con and a scam, yeah, because of your lack of integrity, the likelihood that it's there. And you are telling us what's going to happen. You're going to take that money from me because you're the bad people. It happens as part of philosophy of opposite. It's amazing. It's amazing how people give the game away for themselves. Yeah. It's too fascinating. It's all there. It's all there, right? Yeah. All there. Yeah. It's incredible. Very incredible. All right. Brilliant. Beena, anything to add?
Yes. No, it is so wonderful and so complete today, of course, like always. But I just want to share that if you are watching us live and recorded, and you find some value and goodness and moreness, please do leave a comment here because we love to receive questions. Questions are love notes from the universe for us, and we are desperately waiting for, because these questions always bring so much more, all caps more in our life. And also, by doing so, you are going to train your online algorithm, which is ultimately affect your life algorithm, that emphasizing on the goodness, emphasizing on the moreness. Please, whenever you find some value, emphasize it, pay attention, because universe is geared and towards just to provide you whatever and wherever you are focusing, wherever you are paying attention. It's a currency. Attention is a currency in the universe. So please spend your currency wisely, because this is how you are communicating and setting universe algorithm to bring whatever you are focusing on more and more into your life. This is what we are doing here. Let's again, so wonderful, Syl. Thank you so much. And you bring so much more actually, because there are many topics which needs to be discussed like more in detail, like the luck. Luck is a very, very interesting and of course very, very mysterious kind of a topic. And I would love to hear you in your show also that to talk about luck. Okay, and also leveraging fear, like fear.
We will do.
Yes, so positively leveraging the fear. This is something very interesting. I would love to hear more about this.
Save the energy of this query, this earnest desire to know more. Save it for tomorrow when we're doing the show with Jill. Ask me about it. Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Okay.
Save it. Let it brew and stew, and that earnestness will come out. And as you know, earnest questions have a profound effect on me. And it will be, we leverage. Now you're going to leverage your earnest interest and focus on this, right? You're going to leverage it. See how magical leverage is, capital L leverage. We use it all the time. Fantastic thing.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. And we will see you guys tomorrow after Syl's interview. Like regular, it's a series of interviews, long series, and Syl is being interviewed by celebrity interviewer Jill Nicolini. And here
now you too,
see,
because you become my guest and you're a regular guest there now, so it's both of us really. So.
Oh yes. But there you can see Syl in a different mood, because it's very of course it is short, but not only short, but it is something that where any new one can come and see that what way of impeccability is. Because here we are also, going into detail and depth and all these things, but there you can see that what is actually way of impeccability look from the new perspective, or you can say that, okay, from a new person's eye.
Right, because we're sharing as appropriate to a very general audience. In these lives that we do here, we are not doing this for an audience. We're sharing to ourselves. Beena and I are doing what we do even if we weren't live, right? We are going into discernment, we're sharing. Yes, if comments come, we respond to those. But we are not holding back. In other words, we are sharing the full depth of the sophistication, the moreness. Now, a lot of that is dependent on what has come before. So if you're listening, you might have to catch up a little bit, and you might not quite, because we're using terms and concepts and understandings and awarenesses that we've built and layered on. But in a show with Jill, we are sharing, and sharing it from a perspective where we know the audience is not aware of all of this, right? And it's difficult to do, by the way. It's quite difficult to do. And then when we do our own show, it will be a combination of the two. Yes, we're going to be dealing with new audience, but also we will go more into a depth, not as much as we do here on the lives, because here we don't hold anything back, because we're talking to each other, right? And anybody else is joining this conversation between Beena and I. Not just conversation, but the sharing between Beena and I. We're doing a capital R reading, which is going into depth. So there's a different paradigm involved, a different intent involved. Yeah. But when we do our own show and doing Jill's show, different logic involved, right? And you have to understand the clarity of intent, but to know what the intent is, yeah? And to know what the intent is. Very cool. Very, very wonderfully
Thank you so
cool.
much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. See you guys tomorrow, and we will share more.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We shall do that. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Oh, 1 second, 1 second. Ellie Mua joined us on IG, and so did Cora Sanchez. Yeah, see? I can't, you have to read and see every letter, because it's very easy to read that as Sanchez, but it's not, it's Sanchez. I never seen it spelled that way before. So brilliant, Cora and Ellie, thank you for joining us. And Cora and Ellie, by the way, anybody on IG, if you want to watch the whole live, when we end the live, it doesn't save it to IG. I don't know why. It's a peculiarity of IG. So if you want to watch it, go to my YouTube channel. You can just Google me, Syl Sabastian, spelled the way my name is with the A's, and you'll find it on YouTube, and you can watch the entire live video there, right? If you want to go and catch up, yeah? And then we share clips as well, but if you want to see the whole thing, go to YouTube. The clips we share to IG, but the entire replay, that's on YouTube. Or yeah, on Facebook in the group also, but easier to find it on YouTube. But thank you for joining us. We always appreciate it, and it's a very big deal. Brilliant. All right, we'll end on that note, right, Beena? And thank you, Norma, as always.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Love
bye
you.
for now.
All good. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And live video and meeting for all.